So this show should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah.
Alright.
All this.
Alright. Let's see here. It looks like we are live. Alright. Let's make sure. Let's see what these comments is looking like. Okay. Alright. Cool. So I think we got everything we need. Alright.
Yeah.
So greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another great episode of Conversations Under the Hood with your hosts, Robert Helm and the wonderful Dr. Lindy Wade Helm. And tonight we're gonna try something new tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You know, every week we try to come to you with things that you can benefit from in one way or another. We like to call them nuggets, gold nuggets.
Yeah.
You know, just things that we can leave on the table that can be helpful for other people. So we've been doing that for the past, oh my goodness, what would you say, 14 episodes? This makes the 15th episode, I believe.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Okay.
one of those.
I didn't realize we did that
It's
many.
time for us to have fun, I guess now, right? Literally. So
Well, these are the questions that people are asking. I
Well,
think they're fun. But
yes.
yes, they're right on time, these questions.
indeed, but I
Yeah.
think it's a good time for us to take off the shackles of us trying to be politically correct about everything, and let's just have a good show.
Yeah.
You know, I'm excited. I'm extremely excited about tonight because you know, we've been talking about this all week, just having a chance to freestyle in a way where we can talk about, you know, the things that we've had from our previous shows, you know, questions or comments, as well as, you know, the things that those bring about. Because, you know, our conversations, they actually, today I was talking to one of our guests from last week, and they said, man, you know, you guys y'all be having some great stuff, man. Y'all be going in, and then the next thing I know, y'all be over there somewhere. I said, yeah, exactly. I said, I don't.
So it's not scripted. You know, we go with the flow.
That's it. I said, we go where the conversation takes us.
Yeah, and
So
especially when we get comments, sometimes we derail to what the comments are all about.
absolutely,
But
absolutely.
yeah.
So with that being said, you know, like I said, I would like to welcome everybody this evening for a new and I'm not gonna say improved yet. I'll wait till the end of the show. We'll see how it goes. So,
Yeah.
so anyway, so let's just kind of
Just
kick off.
something different other than the serious topics that we've been talking about. So
Right.
people want to get to know us better.
Right.
You know, you being an American and me being South African.
Mm-hmm.
So people are wondering, you know, what were the cultural differences in our relationship? How did we adapt to each other's cultures?
Mm-hmm.
What was food and culinary traditions?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so forth and so
Okay.
on. So I thought it was really interesting.
So we're gonna dig a little bit into what everything. I don't know if you would call those personal, but I would say yes, they are very personal. But
Not that personal. They're interesting. It's like we are honored you want to get to know us a little better. So
Right.
we're gonna dive into those questions and
absolutely.
you know,
Well, hey, before we go there,
yeah.
because I need to share this. I see we have okay. Let me just refresh that. All right, so let me share this. But you know, our tradition is to talk a little bit about the previous week,
Right.
right? So we won't dive into it. So we're not gonna go for any long elaborations. We're
Okay,
we're just
we'll work
going-
hard on that.
Yeah, I'll just speak briefly, if you can, on what we talked about last week. Well, the past 2 weeks. And while you're doing that, I'll share this, and then we can come back together and address the questions that you asked. How about
Yeah.
that?
Well, we talked about what will compare us or anyone to give to a cause.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what motivates you to give to a cause. And a lot of people talked about, you know, things that are they closely can relate to, things
Right.
that, you know, they've experienced, or, you know, the cause that really just hit home or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, you know, said, you know, children with autism. Some people say children with cancer. And for me, it was just children in general.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Speaking of that, you know, I forgot to tell you that one of the guests. Well, I actually think I'm not sure if it was the wife, the gentleman that we spoke to.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember
Mr.
that?
Jacobo, I think that's how he says
Yeah, I
his last
believe that
name.
was his last name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I was reading. They had left a comment, and he talked about he had two sons who had
Mm-hmm.
autism, and
Right.
so that was obviously a passion for them, and which made sense. But then I saw another comment from someone else who had mentioned that they were very happy with the fact that we were having a conversation about
Mm-hmm.
that type of thing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you know well, right now, I think it's that time of the year where everybody raising money, and so you see all different types of
Right.
fundraisers and things like that.
Right.
But to bring awareness to issues that are, important to like really important causes, and I think that's kind of where I was leaving off my nugget actually
Right.
last week was to support something. And when I watched that video, I was like, I should have probably said something more than just, go and support something. But
Mm-hmm.
starting within your community, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like that makes the most sense is to build from, and let that go,
Right.
go out from there.
Right.
Um, and so, yeah, I think it was great to see that, and these were the couple of comments that I have read were from international viewers.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I had
Yeah.
saw some from the UK, and I saw some from I think it was Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
in Africa. So
Yeah.
that was I was really excited to see the interaction there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that maybe this evening we can also get a little bit of interaction from some of our viewers as well.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
let's see who we got. Yo, Mr. Compass Ion, how you doing, sir?
Welcome.
Yes, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. If you have any comments, any questions, or anything, don't hesitate to post them, and we'll be happy to address them as we see them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's a little bit of lag, and if we do have that, we still will try to address them as we see them. So,
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, so let's jump back to let's close out what we were just saying. So from the cause side of things.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think we both can agree that supporting causes that resonate with you, especially personal, things
Mm-hmm.
like that, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And then for those folks who maybe see themselves as being in a different position where maybe they don't have issues or things that they have to worry about seeking assistance for,
Right. Right.
maybe family members or other experiences in their life have presented things that they realize
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
necessity. So let's close on the fact that, hey, 2025, let's try to support something, whether if we can't do it with monetary donations, maybe we can do it with physical contributions.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe volunteering.
That's exactly what I
What
mean.
have you.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely. And don't forget to do your research. If you
Hmm.
find an organization that you would like to support, also that is also working to support these causes. um, and to Mr. Jacobo's point, autism is largely undiagnosed
Right.
properly,
Right.
particularly in African countries. But people that are becoming aware of it and supporting those children or anybody else who may be suffering from that is highly, highly appreciated. And please continue to spread awareness.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Well, now that we have done that, let's go into the questions that we received. We had a few different questions, as you were mentioning there, and
Hmm.
I believe that I think one of them is pretty interesting. So
Yeah.
I don't know how you want to. I'm gonna let you. I'm
No,
gonna
you
let you
go
take.
first.
No, no,
Cultural
no, no, no,
differences, because I read the
no.
question, so you have to go first.
No, see,
Cultural
I
differences
hold on. Let
in
me
our
see here.
relationship, you know. So, okay, let me put it this way. What was the most different that you can attribute it to culture? When we first met and through our relationship, we've been together for 24 years now. So you probably got used to a lot of my ways. I'm definitely used to your ways. But anything you can remember? That I know we have a lot of stories, but you go first.
No, I'm just teasing. Wow. So, it's interesting. I'm sure there's probably many of those. If I have more time, let's just say, to
Yeah,
think
yeah,
about
yeah,
it. But the ones that like pop out to me the most,
yeah.
and I hope my mom is not watching wherever she is. I hope, please, if she is, mom, just mute it for a moment. Um, I think
Yeah.
about, well, consider how our relationship was, right? It moved pretty quickly, right? As
Okay.
far as
Yeah.
us being married and having a family and so forth.
Hmm.
So, boy, you see me rubbing my hands, I'm nervous, so I feel like I'm in a.
Yeah. You get,
Whew,
it's hard for you to get a little. So
whew.
they just that's a question they
Yeah,
want to
okay,
know.
okay,
You
okay.
know,
All
you're
right, all right,
American. I'm South African.
right.
So
Okay. So, I'm trying to be careful how I say this. So, when I was growing up,
yeah.
my childhood consisted of things that I thought was normal.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, which are things that I would have expected from my children, my offspring.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when you and I got together, it wasn't really too much of a question, right?
Yeah.
And from the cultural side of things, simply because I don't really think that became an issue. It was more like, wow, it was an excitement thing, like just knowing, like, oh, she's from a different place, or he's, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it didn't have the same, I don't think, the same impact until it really, where I had to face the fact, wow, we have to solve a problem, or we have to address something, a situation, or confront a situation,
Hmm.
um, and how our views of addressing that situation is so different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one situation that I'm thinking of in particularly is just disciplining our children, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, let me see here. I hope my mom is not watching. Yeah. Okay.
Leave her alone.
Yeah, well,
She needs to know how you discipline your children.
well,
Let's go.
indeed, but I just don't want to give the wrong impression of how I remember being disciplined.
Oh, yeah.
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 So,
Okay.
so anyway, so I thought like the response to disciplining kids was not to sit down and have a conversation with the kid. It was like, talking to them pretty sternly, to make sure that they got your point and
Yeah.
that they understood your point.
Hmm.
And if they didn't understand your point, then you would loosen up some of the screws to make sure that they could get the point.
Oh, you talk about whooping.
Some people might call it a whooping.
You went a long way to just say spanking or whooping or
Like I said, I'm trying to be very careful about
You
that.
know, that's
But let me finish.
yeah, go ahead. Go
So my initial approach to dealing with my children or our children, excuse me,
ahead.
was to come down on them, like from a disciplinary perspective of how my mom,
Hmm.
or how I would have expected, because I say my mom, but discipline,
Around
the way
the
I
house.
grew up, was more than just my mom.
Hmm.
Like the neighborhood, people in the
Hmm.
neighborhood, your aunts, your uncles, your play aunts and uncles
Hmm.
could
Hmm. Yeah, discipline. You.
discipline you, exactly the same as or worse than what your mom or your dad would
Yeah.
in some situations. So that's what I was accustomed to, and that's what I thought was the solution to
Hmm.
problems. Because
Hmm.
in some ways, I have to say, like as an older person now, when I look back, I would say there's probably more effective ways of doing it.
Right.
However, to children who are fearful of violence or pain and suffering,
Hmm.
they'll respond probably very similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
To not wanting to or learning from their mistake, if you will. So that's kind of where I saw the convergence of the difference in culture, because where you came from, or at least what I was perceiving you to come from, was from
Hmm.
a much more nurturing. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I never saw you get mad. Like you were able to somehow control your, even when,
Emotions.
yeah, your emotions, and when maybe again things that would have distressed me or make
Hmm.
me want to respond differently. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like what I thought my mama would have done.
Hmm.
So yeah. So I remember that. Seems like the first time that I went to make that move of disciplining them like that, you were like, hold on, we don't do things like that. And like I feel like we had, and I know this has been so long, like
Yeah.
20 some years ago, but I feel
Yeah.
like we had a conversation about that,
Yeah.
which
We did.
you helped me understand. And boy, this is a long answer. You helped me understand like things that were not a part of my reality,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
In that way. So there's my answer.
Yeah.
Mom, I hope I love you.
No, you know what? That's very interesting because there are so many similarities, in terms of how you were disciplined or taught as a child to my culture as well. And if you also grew up in South Africa, especially my household, we did get whooping.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There was a lot of adults default, is whooping children. But what I chose to do
I'm
was
sorry.
that don't have what?
She said, "You don't have to tread lightly. You know our mom."
Whoop our tails up. Thank you.
Boy, that's
I mean,
true.
it's and you know
Hey, just remember, you said that Frederick and Denise Taylor. That was not me.
that's funny
Oh,
too,
wow.
because even my some of my family and friends that are watching, here, they will know that I'm telling a story if I say we didn't get a whooping.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We got whoopings. Sometimes, you just
Oh man, I'm
pray.
sorry.
We
That
used to
made me
do
cry. I'm sorry.
we used to do all these little rituals and try to think that we're not gonna get hit if we just, clap our hands 10 times, as kids trying to be creative. But that was a very normal form of discipline. I just chose not to discipline my children the same way I was disciplined because it didn't really make me learn. It just made me scared of adults.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, the point that they were trying to have across, it really didn't teach me anything. Hence, we kept getting whooped because we kept repeating the same mistake. Obviously,
Right.
we were scared of them, but whatever it is that they were teaching us was not sinking. And it's just like children everywhere. So how you saw me choose, how we're going to discipline our children was basically, my own choice at that point, regardless of my culture.
Right.
If I followed what I think is my culture or, how I was disciplined, we'll have been beating these children, forever. But I really don't believe that you have to inflict pain to get somebody to understand, what
Right.
you're trying to get across, or to
Right.
try to get them to do something you would like them to do. I think that is a flawed way of thinking, if I may if I may say so. But that's just my opinion. So that's why I chose we're going to speak to our children.
Right.
We're going to explore other forms of punishment if they were not, following the rules, or if they were doing things that we're not supposed to be doing. But as a result, it seemed to have worked out really well because they just really laid back kids. All you gotta do is talk to them stern. They know what time it is, and they try their best not to do things that warrant, physical punishment,
Right.
if you will. So that was not cultural. That was like an intentional, decision, an intentional choice not to do that.
Okay. So I can understand that. I guess my perception of that was different because, like you spend a lot of time talking about love,
Yeah.
caring, and in that kind of way, right?
Right.
And so, and not to say that my mom didn't love and care for me, but I'm just saying it was expressed in a way where I felt like it was very different. And that may not. I'm not sure. Maybe that's not attributed to culture. You know what I mean? Because there could be families that practice very different. Right here in the States. But I'm just saying, when I look at my community, I look at my environment because I grew up in Grand Rapids for a period of time, and then I moved to Lake County, to Baldwin, and spent time there, which was interesting because where I grew up in Grand Rapids, like our neighborhood, the southeast side, right, like where I was, between Madison and like Woodlawn and Union, and that little area was like my community, right? Like one big family in a way, for the people who had kids and that type of stuff. And when I moved to Baldwin, even though it is the whole, like the county per se, right? Well, not the county, but like the downtown area and the community that's just outside, the couple of communities just outside of it, it was almost like being in the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? On a micro level, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So there were some things that made sense in both places, and that's why I say it seemed like to me, I don't want to say everybody was doing the same thing, but it seemed to be kind of a standard, in terms of how a lot of people. But again, that could be very different because it wasn't like I knew everybody and was a part of everybody's life.
Yeah.
But for me, like I said, that's at the point where I thought there was some kind of difference. And then, there's some other things. There's definitely some other things, but that we can talk about when we get into the next question. So,
I want to close this by saying though that physical punishment was pretty common in Africa too, because even in our schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you you fail a test, we used to get spanked.
Mm-hmm.
If you late, we used to get spanked. If you don't show up to class,
Mm-hmm.
we used to get spanked. Or the teacher will send you the whole class to come to your house and drag you out of bed and bring you to school where you're gonna get a whooping in front of everybody, right?
Can I
So
introduce something on? Well, remind me to let me write that down. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
no, that's okay. So, as somebody who I don't know, I always just didn't do. I was stubborn internally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
as a result, I got a lot of whoopings, whether it was at school, whether it was at home,
Mm-hmm.
and at some point when my mom was still around, me as a youngest, I was a brat.
Right.
So sometimes my siblings couldn't wait to put their little hands on me when mom leaves, because when she was around, or my dad, I will act up and they will want to discipline me.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's older sisters, because they thought my mom was spoiling me.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So all I'm saying is for somebody who endured a lot of whooping, my mother never really whooped me. Maybe that's why my sisters, like she deserves a whooping or what have you. But the point is, I knew how I felt as a child. I knew how it was like to be scared of adults because of the whoopings. Like I just associated them with physical pain,
Mm-hmm.
most adults.
Mm-hmm.
And I never wanted any child to see me the way I saw adults around me.
Right.
I never wanted any child, mine or not, to view me from those lenses of fear, like, oh my gosh, she's an adult, or she can hit me, or she can yell at me, and all of that. So I tried to do exactly the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I was a child that I know what it was like to be loved. My mom loved me to death. I'm saying that both my mom and dad,
Mm-hmm.
the sun rose and set on me. So I know that feeling, and I wanted to pass that feeling to my children.
Mm-hmm.
So the love that I felt as a child is the love that I wanted my children to feel. So that's why you observe me to be, not only telling them how much I love them and how important they are, how smart, all those validating factors.
Mm-hmm.
But you saw me also, embrace them. I mean, these kids will sleep in our bed until,
2:30.
2:30.
30.
I couldn't imagine my baby sleeping all the way across the room, and it's a newborn. I just couldn't do it. So they slept on my chest until they could walk, and even then they had to be here for me to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. So let me rewind that. Okay, if I could
you
answer.
said 30.
Yeah, if I could
So
if I
wrong.
could answer that question differently, or I had a second chance to shoot at that.
Yeah.
Because the one thing, see, this was what I meant. If I had enough time, it would allow me to think. Because probably the very first thing
Yeah.
that made me realize, or to recognize, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
a difference culturally, was when we actually, the first day we met.
Oh, right.
Right?
Right.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I never even met.
What was it?
So, ladies and gentlemen, let me
TFG, thank God it's
No,
Friday.
we ain't. TGFI.
What's
I
up
mean,
there?
wait a minute.
TGFI.
Thank God it's Friday. TGIF. That's what it was.
TGIF.
TGIF
Something
Friday.
like that.
It was
Yeah.
Fridays, and people called it TGIF. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Fridays. But anyway, when we first met,
Mm-hmm.
well, actually, previous to us first meeting, like I told you, me being there with the gentleman that I was with, we had taken
those
that break.
basketball
Yeah.
players. All
So
that.
sitting there at the table and getting caught looking through the door, and you happening to be in the doorway, stuff like that.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, but no, when you came over to the table though,
Yeah.
and introduced yourself, because when I first saw you, like I was fascinated by your beauty, obviously,
Okay.
right? But it wasn't intentional. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
it's like if somebody put something like right here, then you can't help but to see it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how it was, because when somebody said, "Hey, look at that," or when everybody look in one direction, or when everybody point in one direction, you can't help but to be like, "What?" And I kind of got caught like a deer in headlights, because I was like, "What?" And at the same time, you were looking. So like that, I was like, so that was an experience in itself. But when you came over to the table and introduced yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that whole experience of how we first met there,
Mm-hmm.
that was when I was like, I realized how different, especially learning that you were South African and more about you.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that you were very different than any woman that I ever met because I never had a woman, a beautiful woman in particularly, come and just talk to me out of the blue. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah,
And so
yeah.
that was, I wondered, I started actually, I thought you was a cop or something because that's just weird. Like, you, and I say weird, abnormal,
Yeah,
more like
yeah.
what I
Or
mean.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so for me, that experience, and I remember going back to Chicago or southwest suburbs of Chicago
Yeah, yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
um, and thinking about that because what did it took you what a couple of weeks before you called me, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because,
So
yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
Well, no, I'm just thinking. So in that time frame, I thought about that, how different that was. I was like, damn, man, that was weird. Like, I never had an attractive woman just like approach me. It's usually you got to kind of chase the woman. So I
Hmm.
thought, that was awkward. And then that's why when you called me,
Hmm.
I knew right away who it was. I could tell by the act, like everything, and I was fascinated. And of course, I was like, hey, I could marry you. So, anyway,
Yeah.
so that's my thing. So,
I don't know if that was culture. I can tell you in South African culture, in indigenous South African culture that I can remember, um, people don't do that. Especially a young woman, you wouldn't go talk to a whole
wait a minute.
bunch of,
You trying to tell me you unique?
No, I'm not trying to say all of that, but
I'm just
I'm
teasing.
saying one, since I've been in America, majority of my friends were
Hmm.
guys. Like literally
Right.
99% of my friends were guys.
Okay.
I had one or two girlfriends, but so I was very comfortable around guys more than I was, around women.
Hmm.
But two, when I walked in, of course, I saw you guys looking at me. The
Hmm.
first thing in my mind, it wasn't like, oh, they're looking at me because I'm cute or any other reason. I was just like, hey, there's a bunch of fellas right there. I'm like, hey, this my friends right there or something. That was what was going on in my mind.
Hmm.
And so that's why when I looked, it's just that you lingered, longer than all of them. Because when I looked, everybody looked away except for you.
Because it
And
was a setup. I think about that. If everybody is looking at you sticking through the door and you don't see
Oh.
them, and then they be like, "Hey, look," and then I look this way and everybody else look that way. Duh. 'Cause
Oh,
I
I
had my
know
back
that's
to
what
the door.
happened.
Yeah, I had my back to the door.
That's
Everybody
funny.
else was facing like towards the door. I'm like, what the hell, y'all? I mean, excuse me, what y'all looking at? And when I turned around, all I saw was
Me.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, all I saw was you,
Yeah.
and I was like, whoa. And that whole expression, I'm sure at that time, I'm sure because I know it was in my mind that my face, because you tell me that now how my facial and everybody else tell me how my facial expressions
Yeah, yeah.
speak. So
No,
I'm
it's like,
sure.
I mean, the thing is like when I looked, of course I caught you. I saw you guys, we were looking, but I just looked at it like, hey, it wasn't a very diverse restaurant, you know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
then there are people over there, a bunch of them talking, having fun. And so, like I said, majority of my friends were guys anyway. So I was never shy around guys.
Let's ask a question. We got a few viewers in here. All
Yeah.
right, we got. So let me ask you this: if there's any gentlemen or women, well, women is probably, see, in my opinion, I would think women would probably have this experience. But men, if there's any men watching this, have any of y'all experienced very attractive woman, very intelligent woman, approach a group of guys and hold a conversation and try to get to know more about you all? Have Has anybody else ever had that experience? Because, like I said, for me, that gotta be cultural.
No, it's I'm
And
telling
no,
you,
I don't mean it like
yeah.
only Africans would do it. I'm not saying that.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Like
saying
maybe the
like
fact that,
how you were raised, and see, I
yeah.
attribute the way you was raised, even though some of the attributes are the same in terms of spankings and all that. They're still, I don't necessarily call the act the culture as much
Mhm.
as how we arrive to the act.
You
You
know
see
what?
what I
I
mean?
would think this, and I think it's still the same until today. I'm really not scared of people. You know what I'm saying? Like where people will be concerned, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, is it safe for me to go talk to this group of guys?
Mm-hmm.
That is, one thing that I'm just not scared of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then two, one thing that I've observed that is, I think it's an American culture. Um, I think everything is translated to, you know, being sexual or
Uh-huh.
attracted to one another.
Okay.
That's not the first thing that comes to mind for me.
Uh-huh.
So even though I caught you looking at me, I didn't think you were checking me out.
Oh.
Honestly, I thought that, oh, okay, here's a bunch of people, talking. I'm working in.
Mm-hmm.
They're curious, so they look at me. Of course, I looked at them like, oh, I'll go talk to those fellas, later on,
Right.
because I was supposed to meet a friend of mine there who ended up being late. So
Mm-hmm.
so it was natural to me. And I think I told you guys when I came to sit with you, I was like, hey, I'm waiting for my, friend who was a ex then, whatever. I'm waiting for my boyfriend and I'm just gonna chill with y'all while I'm waiting for him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that a lot of people, and I've experienced this about American culture, maybe you too, when you look at them, especially with
Uh-huh.
eye contact, they think that you're hitting on them. When you talk to them and not shy and everything, they think that you're liking them. And I will tell you that's not the first thing that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like when I meet, and I work with a lot of my male colleagues,
Right.
when I'm talking to them or when they're talking to me, whether they're attracted to me or not is the last thing in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope people don't think I'm hitting on them simply because I'm talking to you.
Right.
But I realize that culturally, here, especially with the opposite gender or what have you, if there's, opposite attraction there, is that people literally assume that you're hitting on them or literally assume that you want something more. And I've seen that with women as well. So I think maybe that's what's different.
I'm mad
What?
because we supposed to be having fun and you getting serious.
I'm not I'm not getting so I'm just saying that I remember that because you guys did say that, remember
Mm-hmm.
that, and then you were like, hey, give me your number. That's when common sense kicked in,
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, I don't give my numbers, I don't give my number to
Oh, now you want to
everybody.
be scared.
No, I wasn't scared. I was just being
I'm just messing with
smart,
you.
if you will,
Yeah.
or being,
Right.
conscious.
Right.
But I took all of your numbers, right? I'm
Mhm.
like, hey, we have fun today, whatever. Y'all give me your numbers. I'll
Mhm.
call y'all when I'm bored
Yeah.
or whatever, because I saw you guys as friends. It's just that when I called you, you wanted to be more than friends. You are
Mhm.
like, can I marry you? I'm like, this dude, what? It's our first conversation. Can we get to know each other a little bit?
Right.
That was that was shocking.
Mm. Yeah. So we got Denise says simple terminology was fate. So in terms of us, you know what, I have to agree with you because see, dang, we were supposed this is supposed to be fun. We was just supposed to be all over the place, but here we go. So I agree because I know on a couple of different occasions, right? Like when I had the conversation with our mutual mentor who passed away. That was kind of what he brought out of me was to realize that, this whole experience is really kind of like, that's what it is. It's like fate manifesting.
Yeah.
And, when you buy into that part of it as well, it makes for an opportunity to really, I don't know, create something special. You know what I mean? Because it's like, all right, if you accept the fact that, hey, we came together, and I'm saying that because we don't always come together on positive terms. You know what I mean? But yet, if we can understand that what brought us together is bigger than this little issue. Right.
Yeah.
I know I'm jumping.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But
Well, because I'm saying
okay.
like, I don't even know what the heck I'm talking about anymore either.
Just say it. Just speak your mind. It's okay. It's only on social media.
No, I know, right?
It's only on the world stage.
Oh, that's just yeah. Hold on 1 second. Let me go back here. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, we were just talking about fate. Anyway, we were just responding.
No,
to
it was fate. I mean, given that you guys were at aim high, right, trying out for basketball.
All of that.
Yeah, came to the restaurant just to chill.
Mm-hmm.
I was there literally to meet with my ex, and he ended up not showing up. Which was really bizarre. And that's how I ended up coming to sit with you all while I was waiting on him.
Uh-huh.
And so, of course, he didn't show up. Of course, that was unacceptable to me, and I don't know if it's cultural or it's my choices, my boundaries and all that. It's like,
Sure.
Don't waste my time. So I end up not working out because I was like, not only you didn't show up, you didn't call, I end up, talking to a whole bunch of my friends that I met. And therefore, if you don't respect my time, I doubt if you're ever going to respect me in the future. So therefore, this is done. I had no intention whatsoever to move so quickly to another relationship. But just that when I was young, I just have those strict boundaries.
Can you say that funny?
Funny, like funny how? No, I'm just
being silly.
no. I forgot all about it.
I know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. See,
Yeah.
I told everybody that I talked to today that we were supposed to have a good time. The show was gonna be different. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I lied, y'all. My bad.
No, but you know what? I have to say, what was funny to me is that when I pick up the phone and call,
Oh, here we
my
go.
new friends, first thing out of your mouth is like, hey, young lady, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to scare you away, but I'm looking for a very serious relationship, possibly marriage. I was at work, so I didn't know what to do. I was like, and back then, we used landlines. You silly. Yeah, no, I just remember looking at my friends next to me. I was working for EDS there, the HP now as a programmer. I remember looking at my friend next to me. I'm like, girl, this dude. I was like, she's like, let me hear. So we put you on the speaker.
Yeah.
I never told you this, but we did put you on the speaker.
Oh, that's funny. That's super hilarious.
No,
Hey, you gonna put me out there like that? Hold
I
on.
didn't know.
Where Paul's at? Something. Let me see if I can find Paul. I'm about to cuss.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm just-
I just remember thinking, this is like it was maybe our second conversation, because there at the table, remember when you guys were telling me about yourself, but before we left or whatever, everybody was like, oh yeah, so what are you doing? You have a boyfriend? And I was like, yeah, I do. What about you guys? And you guys went around the table. You didn't have a boyfriend?
I don't know if they
No,
did.
but you remember what you said?
What?
You were like, oh, you know what? Ladies love me. When I go to the club, all the ladies want to dance with me.
I don't even know how to dance. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right then, I was like, oh my God. And you were the youngest, of all of them at the table. And, you being younger than me. So I was just like, oh my God, here we go. Big head and everything. I was just like,
Y'all heard that? What my hair got to do with all this?
No. Big head, like, so considered, right? Like, really inflated ego. Like, the first thing you say to someone, because like, well, what about you? Tell me a little bit about yourself. You're like, yeah, ladies love me. When I go to the club, everybody wants. I remember thinking, maybe
like
he misunderstood my question.
A good line would have been, ladies love me, and so will you.
Yeah, see, that's the part. But you
you
were
like-
what, 23, you
Ish.
couldn't think.
Not even. Shucks,
Yeah,
man.
22.
You kidnapped me. How old was I? I think I was 12.
You were. Yeah, I mean, I like literally make room in the crib and move you out of the crib, and I got in there and grab your
Oh,
pacifier.
no
I
goodness.
almost said, hopefully that translates. But yeah, no, it was interesting. I just thought that you were maybe nervous or very with an inflated ego or what
Sure.
have you. So I didn't know what you think. So
Uh-huh.
I kind of like, Besides, I wasn't trying to meet anyone anyway. I just thought, oh, okay.
It's good to make a group of guys. I hear you. So,
Yeah.
all right. So let's move on to the next. Man, that was one long question, answer, response right there.
No, Didi, somebody said no.
Oh, hey, well, we.
No, Didi. No, he only a couple years younger than me. No, he wasn't 12. No, you know what? You know what's so funny? Not to go back to that question. One of the reasons that I kind of was not considering you at all is because you were just a little younger, and I never dated anybody younger than me. Not that it was gonna be a problem, because you were just as mature and you were only a couple
No, I don't want to hear all that. I'm talking to the people in the comments. I ain't even listening to you no more.
I just didn't know. I mean, yeah, it definitely was fake.
Hey, if I hold up the sign, can y'all send somebody to help
You
me?
said tell her. Who said
Help! Hold on, let me write help over here. I'm blocked.
Yeah,
No,
no,
that's actually
I
not
was.
funny.
But
That's
that's
really
one
important.
thing
I'm sorry.
I told my friend, at work. I was like, yeah, this guy. I said he's a little younger than me. I don't know. And beside, you were very clean cut. Like pretty boy like. You know what I'm saying? You were, which was good. It was really good.
Hey.
But
You
but when
working
it
my
was
nerves. No. Mm-mm.
no, you were like, everything was just so perfect the way it was. So I just didn't know.
You didn't know what?
Huh? I just,
You ain't know what?
I didn't know.
Did I know how to shave?
No.
What was it that you wasn't sure about?
I wasn't sure if you will be attracted to me.
Why? Because you shaved too?
No, yeah, maybe because I shaved too. But no, you were just so clean cut and so clean and
What
so.
you trying to say?
Okay, so long story
Politically
short.
correctly.
Long story short, and besides,
Oh,
you
boy.
were also younger.
Yeah.
But then, when I was young, I really was into arts. I was, in a band. I was, into music and all of that. So I was used to be hanging out with people that were a little bit scruffy, locks or, you look like the police. You did? Right? Right.
I know you ain't talking, Mr. Compass.
He did look like the really pretty police.
Oh gosh.
Like you.
Man, I was a fashion cop. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you were a fashion cop. That's what it is. That's what I was trying to say.
Hey, y'all got me going.
Yeah. No, so I was just used to locks, a little bit how artists tend to be. Okay. So it was just very new to me. But like Nisi said, it was fate because I can imagine I probably wasn't anybody you would have thought of dating whatsoever.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I need to chuckle quietly on the side over here.
Well,
he is the Compass. I think I'm gonna have to.
Officer Hernandez.
We're gonna kick him out.
Yes, that was going on in my mind. I was like, okay. I don't know what's going on here.
Hey, why don't you send Officer Hernandez over here to check her stuff?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, so wow, whew, okay, man. Listen here, we are 40. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right, so
look, okay, let's move on to the next.
Listen, our tradition is to leave some nuggets somewhere. So the only nugget that I can think of at this particular time is to have a good time. Any opportunity you have with your spouse. I'm just gonna say that because I enjoy this walk down memory lane here. Yeah. These clarity on misunderstandings, things of that nature.
You still crying? Look,
it's hard, man. You're making it difficult for me. So all right. So let's go to number 2.
Okay.
The second question here.
Wait, can I leave a nugget for that one? The first one.
Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourself. Yes.
No, I was gonna say, whenever you meet someone, don't try to change them into what you want them to be. Learn to appreciate them as they are and then work together on the things that, can be better. Work together, to make sure that you understand and respect each other's boundaries and then make a decision. My niece said, Emily, she said to me, you know what? She's been married to my nephew for like 19 years now. And she was just like, because we both wanted it to work.
Right.
So just make sure that both parties want this to work. And as long as you want it to work, you will be able to overcome and work through anything. And I think that's a testament of our 24 years of marriage going on 25.
I agree. I think there's some great dang, no handcuffs either. Yeah, that's true. Hey, we free.
Oh, you're still on number 1. We gotta move on to the next.
This guy is killing me in the comments, man. All right, Mr. Compass. Hey, you're sure pointing in the right direction, buddy. Let me tell you. All right. So, question 2, or I'm not even gonna pose it as a question. We'll just move into this because I think there's some from a cultural side, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about from a food side, right? Okay, or a culinary side. I think that's what culinary traditions.
Food and culinary traditions. Okay.
So I'm gonna let you go first this time because I went first last time.
Yeah. From the food side of things, let's talk about one of the things that I truly appreciate about the American culture. Not that this does not happen at home. No, I was gonna talk about food.
Yeah, but you gotta talk about your first impression. When you first came to America and your first experience, because we talking culture.
Oh, not just with you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Or maybe should we talk about just with me? Yeah, because I don't want to cut you.
No. I just said the fact that you knew how to cook.
Oh.
You were very, very clean. Which was very attractive. I just have to check double things because most of the time people that are like super clean like that,
Don't need housekeepers. You're right.
yeah, don't need housekeepers.
Mhm.
That's they don't need a woman to
Keep house.
cook and clean and all that for
Yeah.
them. So I had to double check that.
Indeed.
But then when I realized that you were just a very clean guy,
Mama,
period,
thank
I was
you.
really-
Thank you for raising me well.
Oh, yeah, he was so clean. I remember my friend. She's like, "Are you sure?" She's like, "Yeah, he's pretty." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know, girl." She's like, "I tell you what. When you go visit him in his apartment, maybe just his apartment being clean like that, he's just showing off." She said, "Go to the bathroom and lift the toilet seat. If that's clean, you may as well check everything else because that's." Like past clean for like a normal guy, but we were young, and stupid then. We were just trying to figure out, what you were all about. And sure enough, my first visit to your apartment, if you notice, first thing I asked to use a restroom.
I don't play.
I went in there and I was like, "Oh my God!" I called. I said, "He's clean. The toilet is clean." She said, "Oh, girl, you better check everything
Oh
else."
Lord. have mercy.
But so sooner or later, everything fell in place.
Hold on.
Yeah,
I got something for that. Yeah, that's too
I'm
much.
watching here with the conversations that were going on with you and your friends, But yeah, so
Hey, Denise, Frederick and Denise say y'all too funny.
hey, sometimes
I
you
ain't.
gotta check. I mean,
Nah, see, she be starting stuff.
Hey,
Mm-mm.
that's
Hey, my mama raised me right. That's all I attribute everything. Mama, skin so soft in Avon, y'all. It's
no,
crazy.
I mean,
Yo,
it's like
wait a
how
minute.
many guys do you know they lotion every day and chapstick and all of that?
Wait.
I'm just saying.
All that.
Let's go back to the next question.
That's-
What was the next question? It had to do
Hey,
with food.
look at my lips closely.
Oh no, that was 24 years ago.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
I mean,
saying these still the same lips though.
yes, without chapsticks, a lot of it.
Okay, so we gonna move on to culinary
I'm just-
for
yeah.
we might wind up closing out this show early tonight if we don't get it together.
I'm sorry, but honey, I once I realized that you were just a very clean guy, in every definition.
Mm-hmm.
Where when I was used to be around the artists who are usually scruffy.
Mm-hmm.
That was, something that I had to say, you know what, if I'm going to be with this guy, I have to love him for who he is, not to try to change him. Even though I kind of did, I tried to have Denise lock your hair. Remember that? She hooked you up. She made it so tight. You were
Hey, I think she's still on here too. Hold on. I'm glad you brought that up. That ain't cultural, but we gonna definitely talk about that.
I
while
wasn't
we-
trying to change you, by the way. I just wanted to see what you would look like with locks. I thought locks were
Hey,
really good on you.
I hope Frederick and Denise Taylor is laughing about this because we talking about you now.
She had it so tight, your whole forehead was red. I still have pictures.
Hey, I know if there's anybody watching this who has ever had braids or has ever had somebody who has just wanted to make them suffer. Have you ever had braids put in so what?
So tight, make your teeth bleed.
What you trying to say, man? You man, my lips is ashy.
Oh, I'm
lick
sorry.
my
That's because I was talking. Stop. That's because I was talking about chapsticks and all that. Don't be all sensitive. It's
No,
all
I'm
right.
very sensitive, man. When y'all started talking about me, I don't know what you said here. What did I say? Hold on.
Yeah.
So, all right. So,
I have an extra chapstick.
nah, that's what I'm saying. They is clowning me, man. I'm like, I need to. I'm gonna start keeping lotion down here now,
Right.
just for my
See,
lips.
Avon, all over again.
What
Okay.
Rob? What he say? Compass said, "No, Diddy."
Yeah, no, that was before all of that, So, and trust me, I checked everything. I even like deep sleep. I had to check certain things.
All right. So you.
I'm just saying, watching responses. Normally, when people are in deep sleep,
Whoa,
they
whoa,
respond
whoa.
very honestly.
To what?
Whether they're being woken up or whether they being, a handshake.
Oh,
Respond differently
Whoa.
when they sleep because they honest, right?
Wait a
They don't
minute.
have time to fake who they are when they sleep. Don't worry, I
No, hey.
gave you a glass of water.
Hold on.
and
Wait a
you
minute.
drank
We got
it.
11 minutes to go. Boy, you go. Hey,
I
ladies and
gave you a
gentlemen.
glass of water. That's what I did. I
In my sleep.
In your sleep. And I watched how you were drinking that water in your sleep.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna see if
Well-
you're thirsty tonight. Yes, sir. Okay, I got you. Hey, thank you for letting me know. Hey, you know the thing about it is, you know how people say karma, and you know you reap what you sow. All them little phrases.
What?
I'ma pay you back.
I got 5-year children now. Ain't none, there's no question. I hope you ain't got no question. 25 years later, 5 children later, if you still have questions, I don't know about you. You need to shrink.
Excuse me. Who said anything about questions?
What?
I have no questions.
What?
I got all the answers. Trust me.
Oh, I ain't asking no questions anymore. I know you now.
That's right.
You ain't no good.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So, from the food and culinary side, okay.
Just like don't go chasing waterfalls. He was chasing waterfalls.
You ain't lying, boy. Hey, that's hilarious. That's a good one, Compass. So, food and culinary traditions. So let's jump to that.
All right, food.
So let's think about what was your funniest experience. So your first encounter to American culture or African American culture.
Mm-hmm.
What was your funniest experience? Let's just say, or maybe not. Whatever you pick. Whatever
Okay,
kind of
so I'll tell you about 2 scenarios. When I first came here, we lived with my adopted family, and I remember the first dinner. You know, everybody came to meet me and all of that. The first day, you know, first dinner here in America, it was a lot of people around the table. You know, eating, passing food, or what have you. All I remember was Americans. Well, I'm not gonna say Americans. It was not everybody, but I just remember people staring at me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What? What's wrong with you?
They talking big dog.
He has all the answers. Honey, you better grab those fairy haircuts and watch out. I'm sleeping with one eye open.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
You know?
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
That was funny. I couldn't help it.
That is hilarious, though. Yeah.
Oh,
They're
man.
flapping down. We ain't gonna talk about that. But yeah, I just remember, you know, especially this
Oh my goodness.
old lady, you know, they were just looking at me, and I was wondering, like, because it's very rude to stare at somebody, you know, in my culture, and I was younger then, so I didn't know if I did anything wrong or what have you, but every time I looked at her, she was like green, like this biggest smile, and I used to think like, oh my God, these Americans are interesting, you know, why are they just looking at me and smiling when I look at them? Then, you know, the second encounter, my first Thanksgiving, to my boss, you know, it was my boss then. She hired me right off LCC and all that. So wonderful, wonderful lady. She brought me to her family Thanksgiving. The food was amazing. Nothing I've ever tasted, because I've always just been with my adoptive family, and they cook very differently. You know, I'll tell you this. They called stuffing. But then when I went to visit my boss and her family, they called stuffing dressing. So you kind of see where I'm going with that. But the food was amazing. I just remember like everything was just so perfect. The spicing, all of that. But one thing that shocked me, she had me try some chitlins. That was the scariest thing I've ever eaten.
Oh, really?
What?
Tell me more.
What?
Oh my goodness.
What I missed?
No, I'm just listening to you. I'm just listening. I
Yeah,
can't see,
okay.
man. I'm crying over here. I can't even see.
But
what's
listen,
in front of
yeah.
me.
So chitlins. I mean, she explained what they are, and I was like, it can't be that bad. I just remember looking at this circle. You know, they just look like something.
Tell me more.
They were called chitlins. So I tried one. She told me to put some hot sauce. Let's just say that was the first and the last time I agreed to test something I've never really tested before. Yeah.
Don't stop. That's my job. I'm listening.
No. I know you're reading some comments.
I'm
curious
cracking up
too.
inside my head. What did he say?
What?
Let's see. Compass says, I got a question. What were your guys' favorite stuff? What?
Moose.
Stuffed animals growing up. Let's
had
see
a
how
moose.
old you are. Let me see. I didn't have no stuffed animals, man. That's funny. Did you have any?
I still have one. I have a moose. No, I mean siblings. Siblings.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh wow.
Let's see here. All right, so I'm trying to actually. You know what? I think about it now. I did have a stuffed animal. I can't say that it was my favorite stuffed animal, but I had a teddy bear. I remember now. It was
Yeah.
kind of like Imhotep. It was like a Coca-Cola bear or something. I remember I actually got a
Yeah.
picture. I found a picture.
Oh, kind of like
that-
Imhotep. You know,
Yeah.
the bear we gave our daughter when I was pregnant. She still have it. Oh, speaking of, I think Denise's was Care Bears. She had a Care Bear that she gave to Kiasi, and Kiasi still have it to this date. You know, 23 years later, 22 years later, because she was.
What he say? His
Was a
wait a
turkey.
minute. Compass. What?
His was
Hey,
a turkey.
you might want to hide that comment, man. You was a jive turkey. You sure you want everybody to know that?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So what about you? You know, I talked about, you know,
All right,
the
so
dynamics
from a
the
culinary
daylight,
side,
yeah.
because I know we were. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Man.
See, you. Now I'm gonna read the comments, so I'm gonna have fun. For
I got to
change,
take
and
control
you
of the
talk.
mouse. Okay.
See.
All right.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me. All right. So for me, my response to food and culinary traditions. All right.
Yeah.
Here, actually, well, I'll try to remember two things. One thing for sure, I remember when we first got together.
Mm-hmm.
Your diet was like you were into eating spinach and rice and like whiting. I think.
Yeah,
it was, the
whiting.
fish. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe chicken every now and then.
I don't remember
Yeah, it was
the
very.
chicken. Yeah, I don't. I
Yeah, it
just
was mostly fish.
distinctively
Yeah.
remember used to eat or at least that maybe that's just what I enjoyed the most. I don't know, but because
Yeah.
you used to make it so nice, like, and I like all of my food dried out, you know, in a way.
Yeah.
And I remember your fish was like it was crispy around the edges and so I was like, But before that, and
Yeah.
the reason I mentioned that is because that was like your everyday diet, and I was used to eating kind of anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't know if that was like cultural or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know diet sometimes is reflected in that way, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought that was interesting. That and turkey, but
Yeah.
turkey again, I don't think that would be associated culturally.
Yeah. No, it
Um,
was just
Right,
you know,
I think we kind
alternative
of
to
grew,
chicken.
yeah, and beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we kind of grew to that. But the other thing, after being together for some years, that, you know, when we went to South Africa together
Mm-hmm.
as a family, that's where my experience on the culinary side, because from a traditional side, like you cook some things. I do remember having some different traditional dishes prepared by other people
Yeah.
from other cultures, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like namina.
Yeah.
That was that peanut butter and spinach
Yeah,
and like
peanut
things
butter,
like that and
spinach.
couscous and all that.
Yeah,
Like all
yeah.
that stuff was great. And so the one thing that I do remember that I thought was like shocking for me
Mhm.
was when we were in South Africa. And we had been there for a little while. And I started to get a little more comfortable with the family that we were staying with.
Yeah.
Our
My
sister-in-law.
sister. Yeah. My sister.
Or I say our sister-in-law, but yeah, our
Mhm.
sister, Ellen. Man, I remember, you know, going into the kitchen one day and see she had a helper, you know, a house
Yeah,
person
she had
that
a
took
maid,
care,
yeah.
that took care of everything. So, you know, you very rarely got a chance to see or touch,
Yeah.
you know, the things. And so I just remember going in there to serve myself one day. I think I might have been getting water or some snack or some shit. I mean, some things. Excuse me. Wow, I'm sorry.
Yo,
I'm
just so
sorry.
full of.
But some things, I know my mouth is wild today.
Yeah.
Because just making me, it's
He
almost
said
coming back.
couscous.
Yeah.
Couscous.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Man, but
Yeah.
it was crazy because when I walked to the cabinet and opened the cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what I maybe was looking for, but I know the first thing that I saw was like this big clear plastic bag with these little things in there. And see, I'm not going to, again, Mama, I hope she's not listening, but you know, there's been times where when you grow up in poverty, sometimes you have to move the bugs out the way to eat.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff.
Okay, I get it.
So I saw what I thought was bugs, and then I was like, nobody got a bag of bugs,
Yeah. Okay.
you know? And so if you remember, when I saw that, I immediately walked into the
Dining room?
the living room or dining room area, yeah, and asked somebody why, oh my goodness, there was a bag of bugs in the cabinet, and you know, when they told me that it was a snack and all that, I was really done. Then I said, ain't no darn way that's a snack right there. But yeah, so that was
So to be clear, it wasn't bugs.
a bug. Excuse me.
It was land shrimp. That's what it was. Look, it's the same thing as shrimp, except that it wasn't from the water. Because when you say bugs, you know, people thinking that maybe it's like bugs. That was not bugs. You know that.
All right,
you know caterpillars. That's what you said. They look like caterpillars.
They look like larvae.
No. Those little white ones? No, they did not.
They were,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Hold on.
Oh, because what?
Wait. That's Rice Krispies.
No. I think you forgot. I cannot think of one dish that looked like that. You're talking about my shonje in particular.
Shonje, yes.
Yeah, my shonje. It's they look.
They like big giant maggots. That's what they look like. Except they're brown.
Like shrimp, right? Shrimp just look like big giant maggots with the tail.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know the water bug, land bug.
That's what it was. Shrimp is water bugs. Land bugs. They were like those, because shrimps are just caterpillars with tails.
No, well,
you know what I'm saying?
That's
those
true.
Land bugs, the only thing that was different about them, they were hydrated and they didn't have tails. So called my shonje, you know. But this is what happens, which was really interesting culturally.
Hold on. What? Oh man, we over time. Look at that. All right, so I want you to spell mashonje for the audience right now, and if anybody is willing to take a moment and Google what that is, then we can have another conversation, because y'all talking about shrimps and caterpillars and all that, but I just want you to know.
It wasn't no potato bugs either. It was this. It looks just like shrimp, because when he was just like.
What you mean it looks like shrimp? That don't look like no shrimp.
Yeah, it did. Without a tail.
No.
Shrimp is like a big worm with a tail.
That is not true. A shrimp has, like, if you look at a shrimp without, that's been cut off, the head been cut off, like the shrimp you go buy in the store.
It still looks like it's a worm.
It does, but don't mess it up for me. What I'm saying is that
cultural difference. Yeah.
You just gonna mess it up for me. It's not a caterpillar. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, all I'm gonna say
is it's a water bug, but it ain't a caterpillar.
My sister had, a maid, or a helper. Mm-hmm. So what was so very different for her was like, she has never seen, or have not seen many men who were willing to go and get some food for themselves or prepare food, what have you. So one thing that she was very appreciative, it was this American man who, instead of calling her to bring him some snack, he will get up and go make himself some snack, or sometimes even make snack for everybody, including her. That was really impressive, to her. And how sometimes you will cook and also serve her, so that was another quality that she used to share, like, oh my God, American men are amazing. This man, he cooks, he washes his children, he does all that kind of wonderful things. So that was one thing that was culturally different, and it was really impressive to other, women in Africa. But in South Africa, my sister's house, I shall say. But yes, back to my shonje. My shonje is literally shrimp on land.
Spell it. I ain't buying that. Spell it for him.
I don't remember how you.
You better write it down and take a picture or something.
I think it's MAXONJE.
One more time.
MAXONJE.
Here, type that in the comments. Type it in the comments right there. It's right there. Hold on, let me go to the comments, because I want the folks to. Hey,
I don't remember
we're going over the time. You better try.
Hey,
take a picture of a worm and put it in there or something.
Whatever, Rob. My shonje.
I'm telling you, that's JE.
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay.
I think that's how you spell it.
Is that it?
I know it looks like Maxonje, but it's Mashonje.
Hey,
Mashonje. That's how you spell Mashonje. That is like a caterpillar, big caterpillar, not a lover. And then they are not to mention that.
Not a lover. That's not a lover.
Those are white, but Mashonjes are not white. Shrimp is what looks more like lover to me, with a tail.
So they think you're saying lover. Just so you know.
It's an accent thing.
Larva.
So, yeah. Go check that out. But
okay.
I'm just.
Look, we about to end the show, so I gotta take my last part, last piece.
Go ahead.
So the Mashonje in the cupboard was a surprise.
That was a surprise. Yes.
And I got over that. And I was like, okay, I can see that because my mom told me when she was younger, she ate like chocolate covered grasshoppers, chocolate
Yeah.
covered ants, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, now that I know it's supposed to be like that,
We
cool,
cool.
no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the probably what was well, this was by far worse than that because, like I said, I could relate to the
Yeah.
that at some point. But man, I remember one day, house was steamed up, nice, so I could smell spices and all that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, she had a maid, so she did everything, man, cooked everything. And I
Yeah.
remember I'm just enjoying this smell. I'm like, man, dang, boy, we're gonna eat good tonight.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I decided to go in the kitchen, and I can't remember if I lifted the lid or if it was already. I think it was open already. And matter of
Mhm.
fact, I think I was walking past
Mhm.
it, and I happened to look down in the pot, and I saw like organs, different body parts. Man, I'm trying to tell you, like, no,
What
man.
the
Hey,
hell?
I saw
I think you were
like
drooling.
no bull. What are y'all? Let's see. No, let's see. This is Mishiji.
Mashonje.
Masanje, so this
Yeah.
was Morojo. That's what that
What
was.
it is,
Now,
I
I don't know how to spell this, but if you could figure it out in any way, it was a pot of innards, right? And
Oh, who?
innards. All of the stuff that's trapped behind your stomach wall was in a pot,
Oh,
being
yeah,
cooked
yeah.
up.
It's called muhodu. Yeah.
Oh,
remember
did I
that.
say it wrong? Oh, Mahodi?
Yeah, muhodi. Yeah,
Oh,
see, you said
okay.
it right.
Yeah, so,
Muhodi.
yeah, man, I'm trying to tell you what.
But what's the difference between that and chitlins?
I don't eat neither one of them. That's the difference.
I'm just saying, why would that freak you out?
No,
If
they both.
because the common thing here, like
I'm
it
freaked
was
out
the
by
same
chitlins
thing,
too, though. That's the thing.
but
I'm not freaked out by chitlins. I don't mess with them.
So that's one thing that we can see that both cultures have in similarities. And that was cow insides, by the way, the stuff that you were talking
It
about.
don't matter who
The
inside.
chitlins is pig intestines,
Man, listen
right?
here. I don't
So
care.
it's kind of like the same thing.
I'm not going to say that
Why not?
because an intestine lining
Whatever it
is
is, I
one
think
thing.
I'll set it up.
Yeah, it's just one thing. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And that was a pot of all kind of stuff. And man,
Yeah.
I'm talking about. I saw it looked like it was a liver in there, man. I saw something that looked like a sponge that was in there, man. I was like, what is that, man? And so that
So
was.
for disclaimer, my sister had just came back from England, right? She lived in England for many years, so she relocated back to South Africa. So one of the things that she loved doing was to eat the very, very, very old traditional food. So she will go to rural areas sometimes to buy, whether it's mashonje or muhodu, kind of like, in America you call that chitlins. But she will go, and bring it to the suburb. So that's what, when we came to visit her, that's where some of those delicacies, she was.
Oh, boy. Are
cooking.
they delicate?
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Ooh.
Yeah, because that was just like it. And I don't know if I can say, but then when we went to the rural area and the villages, that's not the first thing they were trying to serve you, because mostly it's kind of
Fried
like,
chicken.
I had to say this, yeah.
I was going
Like
with chicken
in
wings.
rural areas, it's mostly like fried chicken. People are trying to eat like fancy kind of Western food.
Mhm.
But then the rich South Africans in the suburb are the one that sometimes trying to eat those really traditional, food. So we've seen that. That was interesting. So we go to the village. They're trying to impress him by KFC. We goes to the suburb, and my sister, she's like, delicacy. And my husband is like, what is this?
Oh, no.
And I'm like, is chitlins. He's like, I don't like neither. So
Yep. Nope.
that was fun. That was fun, I have to say.
Wow.
Yeah, the kids did not see that either, because we had really picky kids. If they seen that, they would have never eaten anything else.
Man,
in the
hey,
house.
if that ain't the truth.
Yeah.
So, look at here. We are an hour and hour and 9 minutes in there.
All right,
Wow.
we gotta wrap it up.
Yes, we
that
do.
was fun. I
Hey,
had fun.
so this
I
was
forgot
great.
all about that.
Yeah, see, you just down here having fun. You ain't even thinking about the time. So, hey, tonight was your night, right? This was a great show, and I think this was a good approach to just go with, just having a good time. So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you close it out tonight.
Okay. Well, Thank you again for indulging us. We had so much fun reminiscing, talking about the differences. We still have a lot of differences, but my nugget for tonight really will be, again, and I know I'm repeating myself, but uh, when you meet somebody who's very different from you, don't try to change them into who you want them to be or into who you are. The sooner you appreciate who they are and accept them as who they are with your own firm boundaries, of course. At least to here we are. We've been married for 24 years now, going on 25, and I wouldn't trade him for my chonje. I wouldn't trade him for anything.
I wouldn't
So,
trade her for no land shrimp either. So, ladies and
Land
gentlemen,
shrimp.
we thank you for joining us for another great episode of Conversations Under the Hood. And on that note, we're going to see you next week.
Have a great weekend.
Give me a hug.
Oh, you too much.
Yeah, we gotta
Your
close it
land
out.
shrimp.
Hey, we closing it out with love and happiness, darling.
Oh,
Y'all
my
have a good
goodness.
evening.
All right.